lived in a semi-Buddhist community in Brighton for about 8 months, where we um, did like daily tea meditation for quite a few hours often,
Yeah.
and that is something that felt very comfortable and natural to me, and kind of quite stabilizing and really good. Um,
Hi, you're listening to Soul Care for Trauma and AuDHD. Learn to love and care for all your parts, from the soles of your feet to your soul. I'm your host, Eve Menezes-Cunningham. This is Mighty Maeve. I'm a senior accredited supervisor, senior accredited counsellor, a therapeutic coach where I integrate all my offerings, including psychosynthesis counselling, the trauma-informed therapies, the neurodivergent affirming therapies, AuDHD coaching, yoga, breathwork, meditation, crystals, EFT. I'm a senior yoga teacher and EFT International Advanced EFT practitioner and mentor, and an NLP master practitioner. I'm also the author of 365 Ways to Feel Better, Self-Care Ideas for Embodied Wellbeing, a columnist for Platinum magazine, where I answer readers' questions every month using the Feel, Love, Heal framework that I use in these episodes. So the focus is on self-care, connecting with that highest, wisest, truest part of yourself, and community care, collective care, the Feel, Love, Heal framework. There are new episodes every Tuesday, so you can subscribe wherever you watch or listen. And you can also access older episodes, free resources, more information at soulstosoul.ie/podcast. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome, Claudia Cahalane. Thank you for joining me.
Hi Eve, lovely to see you. Thanks for having me on.
So I haven't seen you in such a long time, but I've known you like online and a little bit in person for decades, because when I first went freelance and self-employed 2004, someone introduced me to the journo biz like long before social media. And it's how I kind of started as a freelance journalist, this amazing supportive community, and you were part of that. And it's just so lovely to see you again.
Yeah, you too. I think the last time I saw you was maybe at a train station in
It
Wales,
was.
randomly.
God,
And this
yes.
is a bit of a classic, I think, kind of like ADHD trying to fit in. You were like passing through the station. I was like passing through with like, let's try and meet for 10
It
minutes or
it
coffee.
was literally, oh my God. So that was when I was finishing my trauma-informed yoga therapy training. We had to
Mm.
do a silent retreat. And I say we had to do a silent retreat. Everyone else was like, yay, silent retreat. And I was like, oh my God. And it was semi-silent. I think my longest stretch was 36 hours. But at the time, that was very not friendly for me, and I had no idea about my neurodivergence, and I found it torturous and also amazing. But you were really interested in that, thinking that it sounded, this thing I had to do to pass the course, to like qualify. You were like, oh, that sounds really interesting. But because you lived in that part of Wales or near, it was like, oh, I wonder if, because I hadn't seen you for years since you'd moved out of London or Brighton, or
Yeah, I was visiting family. I'm from Wales, so
yeah,
that's I think that's how I
yeah.
connected. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very like literally.
But it was cool. I love those
Yeah.
moments.
So
I
that
love
would have
those
been like
moments.
2012, probably 2013.
That date is interesting, and I think it'll, as we talk, will
Yeah.
reveal I'll reveal why.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
And I'd love for you to tell people what you're up to now with the Qi Gong and where people can find you online. It will all be in the show notes, but just
Yeah,
in case people are listening while driving, um,
yeah, sure.
got
Okay.
into it.
So yeah, since lockdown, I've pretty much been doing most of my classes online, and also I moved location to live with partner.
Hmm.
So I have like 5 classes a week online. They're all beginner friendly. Some people have been coming for a long time. Some people kind of have only joined recently. Um, and yeah, I try and make the classes as accessible as I can to people using a chair, uh, neurodiversities like inclusion. I have
Yeah.
I have an LGBT class on a Tuesday morning. I have like a seasonal Qi Gong class on a Wednesday, which changes throughout the year depending on different Qi Gong practices for each
Mm.
season. And then I have a couple of the classic sets, like the eight brocades, which is really popular and really well studied for all its benefits on a Monday morning. And then the Shibashi, which again is a really popular 18 set movement that kind of covers every part of the body and the organ system on a Friday. And so, yeah, there's a whole range of sort of different classes people can do. And I will occasionally do like an in-person event, mainly in Brighton, which is
Yeah,
where I originally started my classes. So I might do like a summer qigong day or something, or a winter like meditation day or something like that. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Vitality Qigong, or my website, vitalityqigong.org, and yeah, that's the main places to find me. I still do a bit of journalism and writing as well.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And how did you get into it, if you want to say?
Well, this is how we're going to link back to 2012 when I saw you at the train station. So I'm thinking, you mentioned a silent retreat then. Yeah, so I think I was going through a bit of a I was going through burnout at the time,
Yeah.
and I I'd like almost been like home free or not had anywhere to live for about a year. I'd done
Mm.
house sitting, help exing abroad. Um, I'd left London. You're right, I left London, and a difficult situation there. So I it was the start of my well-being journey, really.
Yeah.
I moved to Brighton and my life was kind of quite hectic, still doing the full-time journalism, pulling like all-nighters or
Yeah.
into the night regularly, early 30s. And I think I've noticed for a lot of women, it just starts at that age and you can't sustain it. So I yeah, I just thought I'm seeing people, I'm filling up my diary for like, and I don't want, and I was like, still like I feel like it's forced commitments, and I was kind
Hmm.
of like, I really want to just be and slow down. It was a completely new concept to me. It's very chatty, very sociable person, quite extrovert, I thought. And I thought, oh, this silent retreat idea. I wonder if I can find one of those. So I'm wondering if like you may have
I
mentioned it
remember you
first.
saying
Yeah,
that
because you
you
just said,
loved the idea, because I
yeah,
was like, I don't know how I'm going to survive this. And
yeah.
you were like really intrigued and you were acting like you wanted to research it. And I think you then did the Vipassana.
I
Vip
did later,
Yeah,
I did some others first.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd also had a friend who did Vipassana, the
Vipassana.
Vipassana silent retreat as well. And I was like, what is that? It's another world
Mm.
at that time. I'd never
Yeah,
explored any of this stuff. Um, but I found these silent retreats in Wales that were like less intense. The
yeah,
Vipassana sounded too intense for me. So these were
yeah.
7 day silent retreats,
Hmm.
and you were kind of silent for 5.5 days. And
Yeah,
I thought that is just what I just want to just sit down and do nothing and stare out of a window.
yeah,
And there was no reading, no writing, no anything other than meditation and sleeping, having your meals.
yeah,
And Anyway, so I went and straight away I was like, what a relief. What a relief to not have to talk, to not have to like I don't have a diagnosis of neurodivergence. I have like CPTSD, trauma
yeah,
background, and just probably like, the masking thing that people talk
yeah,
about, or just having to like be on all the
yeah,
time. And it was just like to let all that go and just not have to do it. It was like, oh, this is incredibly amazing. I love it. And I love the silence. I could have gone on for weeks. At the end of the week, I was just like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to switch my phone on. But so the magic was, I'd never meditated in my life. And
yeah.
here we were meditating 6 or 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
But every morning we did Qigong, and I've never
Uh-huh.
heard of it before.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like this is completely natural, instinctive. I was always been very energetic, like did a marathon a couple of years before
Yeah.
that. I'd done like a cycle trip across Europe. Lots of swimming, I'd go and swim like 100 lengths or 200 lengths. But this was much more like, I guess, like easy, like is a lot of like just letting the body hang and flop
Yeah.
and just being and just throwing your arms around and just act like all the instinctive movements that you kind of would do if you sort of knew about them, or you've not been taught to like be a bit buttoned up and
Yeah.
um be a certain way. And so it just felt so freeing and like releasing for all the tension in my body, and so relaxing. And I just like, oh, just like the biggest sighs of relief every morning when we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought the guy sent us some videos to do at home, and I did them quite regularly, and I thought this
Yeah.
was great. And then it comes to that point where, again, I think a lot of, you know, people get to into their 30s or maybe 40s where it's like, I can't sustain the career I've been doing. I for a long time, like I need like another career that's going to offer some well-being. And it was a bit of a kind of like, there's so many yoga teachers around. Maybe I could try and be a Qigong teacher.
Yeah.
Completely naively about like any, when you're setting up a business, about how much work that would actually be. And you couldn't just be a Qigong teacher just by doing a training course. But but I did a 2 year
Yeah.
training course.
Yeah.
And it was like every weekend, no, every one weekend a month for 2 years, plus lots of home stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't say at first I found it hard, because it was, it wasn't just all the free movements. There were a lot of more kind of prescriptive movements that were designed to get the body into different kind of places of ease, releasing tension. It didn't feel easy at first. Um, Amongst like all the background of like feeling quite burnt out as well and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, but that was a few years after, so that was in 2015. And so yeah, and then I've just been teaching ever since, and doing my own practice ever since, really, and built it up. Yeah.
That's
Yes, a
wonderful.
long story.
But that's incredible. I love that because I know a lot of people on the one I went on, it was semi-silent and everyone but me seemed really enthusiastic, whereas I felt I had to perform. I couldn't relax around other people. And I felt really, it was basically like I filled two diaries we were allowed to write. And it was so like it was like I'd had years of therapy as part of my psychosynthesis training, but it was just really like, oh wow, getting that kind of feedback. Whereas it sounds like you were able to really drop in immediately and connect with. That's going to lead on to one of the questions, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I mostly was. There was I remember, like, say at meal times felt
Yeah,
very tricky, very weird, for because I went on, ended up going on 5 of those retreats, and
mm,
then a Vipassana as well, which I left after 8 days. I didn't feel comfortable, or it wasn't the right time for me to go on that.
yeah,
But the meal stuff was very awkward. I found it. There was a big dining room, and then there was a smaller one with a few tables, and I would like try and squeeze in there with, hopefully no one else would join me, because just sitting there in silence, like looking at people eating, it just felt so awkward. But I just, by the end of like going on those retreats, I did it over like 5 years. I
yeah,
felt it was completely comfortable, and it's definitely helped me to feel like a tiny bit less needing to perform in everyday life. I still
yeah,
definitely have that. But yeah, and there's a little bit like on the first one. Yeah, you kind of, you are sort of thinking like, oh, oh, how do I look right? You are still sort of thinking about yourself, and it's not total
yeah,
freedom, but I think it got like better over the different retreats. Yeah, yeah, and just, not knowing you can't pick up a book, you can't do anything, just being able to sit and look out of the window for hours and drink multiple cups of tea, which is my favorite thing to
yeah,
do. Like, like constantly, I was just like, oh, this is bliss, absolute bliss. Yeah, yeah, loved it. And also the routine of the day really
yeah,
helped with, probable difficulty. I've got difficulties to like, organize myself and
yeah,
my day. So it's just lovely to have that all set out. You've got a lovely breakfast there for you, and you meditate for a bit, you do qigong, you go for a long walk, drink loads of tea, and then you have a nice dinner. It's just like, love it. Yeah. Anyway,
that
carry on. Next
that's
question.
amazing. So I
Mm.
ask about ideal and actual self-care because I love talking to people who's they're your professionals I'm a professional. We all know the things we'd love to be doing that we feel we should be doing, even though there are no shoulds. And I ask around my feel, love, heal framework. So the feel bit is the things when you've got the bandwidth, say, to do some Qigong or to meditate or to go for a walk or something active, something that helps regulate, something that helps you feel better.
Mm,
The love bit is that we're all part of the divine, we're all part of nature. There's no need to do anything in order to improve yourself. It's that allowing things to just drop away, fall away, and remember it's all good. But we
mm,
have, I say we have to, I find that more challenging than the feel bit. So there are lots of practices I do that help me get more into that state where I
mm,
can be more connected to that like uppercase self, that highest, wisest, truest,
mm,
most joyful, brilliant, miraculous part of yourself. And then the heal bit is the collective care, the community, the co-regulation. So with the feel bit, what would you do in an ideal world when you have the bandwidth to do all the things that help you regulate, that help you feel better?
Are we talking about like my ideal day or week or something?
Ideal practices. So it might be daily, it might be annual, whatever. Like, what would you like to be doing?
Okay. Um, I mean, yeah, being on the retreat and that sort of structure of the day is something that would appeal to me to do, to live kind of almost like that. And I lived in a semi-Buddhist community in Brighton for about 8 months where we um did like daily tea meditation for quite a few hours often,
Yeah,
and that is something that felt very comfortable and natural to me and kind of quite stabilizing and really good. Um, So I think, yeah, there's kind of probably lots of different ways that I could live, that I'd like to live, and some of them would definitely be a bit more like monk-like, um, and just quite simple. Um, and in terms of like my actual life and how it is now, I live with a partner and our cat, and um, yeah, I guess it changes, but in an ideal day, I okay, so this is like my dream life I'm talking
yeah,
about, yeah? Dream
yeah.
life. So dream life would be um doing quite a lot of music.
Uh-huh.
So I'm dabbling a little bit of like music and singing with different bands, different people, with myself. So I would be like having more music tuition. I would be playing music more, I'd be writing music more, I'd be singing more, and I would be doing the tea meditation that I love. I do tea ceremonies and stuff
Yeah.
with other people because that really helps me feel kind of like stable and grounded and calm. Um, usually lots of movement. And actually, I was just listening to when I listened to one of your podcasts a while ago, and someone was talking about the 20 minutes movement in the morning rather than like later in the day. And
Yeah.
I've never been that prescriptive about when I do my exercise. It kind of comes through the day. I do quite a lot. But since then, I have been trying to, or have been exercising quite a bit in the mornings, just going for like a 20-minute walk, and it's made a lot of difference. Or like a 20-minute swim or half-hour swim.
Hmm.
And so switching it a bit more to the mornings. And it's when I've done it, it's made a real difference to my day. So I guess in an ideal world, yeah, I'd have a really good sleep. I'd get to bed really early, which I've always struggled with. But living with a partner who keeps a good routine has been amazing and just helps me so much. So um, that's really good. We don't always get to bed at decent time, but mostly. And so having a good sleep, waking up naturally without an alarm,
Hmm.
getting straight out into the light for a walk with my cup of peppermint tea. That's essential in the morning. Um, and then um, I would, spend time with friends and family. I would probably do some kind of like more instinctive qigong, which is what I
Yeah.
do a bit on my own rather than like the prescriptive routines.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do those, if I know that that routine will work well for this, but
Yeah.
I would rather just make it a bit more flowing, just
Yeah.
move. in a way that feels kind of comfortable and expressive for me. Looks a bit more like kind of dancing, I suppose.
Yeah.
I would go to gigs, more gigs. I just love the feeling of like kind of being absorbed in music.
Yeah.
And I really like sound healing, sound baths, the gongs,
Yeah.
um, and just being like absorbed in that. Um, and yeah, ideally I would have, regular times with good friends and family and community, um, and feel part and belonging to like a loving community. Um, is that sort of thing I'm talking
You're you're
yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah.
If
Oh,
you don't,
also I forgot, I love swimming, sea swimming,
yeah,
obviously, like you. Any swimming
yeah,
I can do like several times a week, and saunas
yeah,
are a huge part of my life. Like,
yeah,
I've loved sauna since I was like 14. Yeah,
yeah. I always feel the need to clarify because I adore being in the sea, but like
yeah,
the other day, I it might have been like 5 strokes because
yeah.
I was so cold,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
it's
just in
just
and
doesn't
out.
matter how long. Doesn't
Like
matter how
someone
long.
else like having a proper swim. I then went to the heated pool to have my proper swim, and
Best
see.
best of both worlds. Love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
people are like, you're so brave. It's like, nope, I'm very much connected with what feels good. And I get enormous benefit even at this time of year from.
yeah. Same, same.
So if you could just pick one thing, or if you're traveling, or if you're ill, if your bandwidth is low, what is an essential self-care in the
I
regular?
mean, if we're going really, really basic, then I like drink pints almost of mint tea.
Yeah,
Just helps me. I don't know. I just feel like it's good to obviously feel hydrated and helps
yeah,
me feel kind of calm. So that's always what I look for if I'm
yeah.
ill or traveling. It's just the first thing in the morning is like I'd make myself a huge vat of peppermint tea.
I love it.
Yeah, and if I could have a number two, I always look for saunas wherever I
Okay,
go. Like it's my number one. Yeah,
wonderful.
number two or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's fantastic. So moving into the love bit, that kind of the supportive, accepting, there's nothing to change, nothing to do. You're part of the divine, part of nature. What helps you feel that, like in an ideal world, and what's an
Mm.
essential that you need to connect with that as much as possible? And I'm aware I've been doing this for years and years and years, decades, and I still like the self-love. It's an advanced practice sometimes, but I think
Yeah,
there are things that can help us get into that reminder. What helps?
yeah. I mean, the obvious, it's something to sort of think about more, but the obvious things would be just be meditation.
Okay.
Um, and that, it'd be like just just simple like breathing meditation or body awareness meditation.
Mm.
But my favorite is to do the tea meditation, which I'll do on my own or with a group or with some old tea buddies online that I used to live with when we lived in the tea
Okay.
house together. Um, but quite often I yeah, if I sort of need that sense of kind of maybe like hugging myself or wrapping myself in some kind of warmth, then doing I'll go out into the garden. That my partner has an amazing garden, so I'll take out my meditation cushion and I'll take a little stove and my tea and my tray and my cups and all my kind of little ritual,
Yeah.
and I'll sit there for like an hour or 2 hours and just drink multiple cups of tea, just look at the garden, just be. And I always, always, always feel like so good after it.
Yeah.
Like just so, is that the kind of thing you mean?
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's that, yeah, yeah, wonderful.
It makes me, yeah, I guess get into a space of more presence
Yeah.
and more like kindness for
Yeah.
myself. And yeah, I feel like if I can, and I do mostly try and I do have quite calm mornings usually.
Hmm.
I try to like, I try not to like, organize too many things. So like having that space, um, for myself feels like very good, and it just yeah helps me feel very peaceful, and yeah, like as if I am, like you say, part of the whole. I am
Yeah,
connected to the divine, the universe, and
yeah.
it's the tea meditation is we use like often use pure tea, and it's I find it kind of very clarifying and focusing, and very much helps me feel like I'm part of this vast amazingness, and that I'll be okay, things will be okay, and I can spend a lot of my day thinking
Mm.
or life thinking things aren't okay, they're not going to be okay, very like stressy. So when I'm there after one or two cups of tea, I'm like, everything's okay. I'll be
Yeah.
okay, and which is a nice feeling.
And what got you into tea ceremony? Where does it come from in the world? Like you said,
Yeah,
you lived in a tea house, which
yeah,
sounds amazing.
yeah.
Um,
It was. Yeah. It's. I mean, there's lots of kind of traditions that do tea meditation. Obviously, that like the Japanese matcha
yeah,
tea ceremony is like probably one of the most well known.
yeah,
And in the Chinese tea culture, I believe it's much more kind of casual. There'll be like, whereas the matcha tea ceremony in Japan will be like silent,
yeah,
and um, there'll be a lot of training and ritual,
hmm,
and it's like a high level art, people
yeah,
go through decades of training for, and the Chinese, my understanding is more casual. Friends meet up for tea, different tea tastings. They have all the nice teaware.
mm,
It's more of a social thing. And so I went to live in a tea meditation house in Brighton,
hmm,
and it was, I guess, uh, it come from like I guess maybe a mixture of different traditions. So
yeah,
there was a casualness to it, but we were silent.
yeah,
We did different tea tasting, and we it was just a just a just an absolutely fantastic thing to sit down every morning, to know that you've got this thing to go to every morning with other people. Someone is serving you like this lovely tea. It's often like really, really high quality, and you just feel like so like blessed and
yeah,
wonderful to be sat there with other people. And we like sat in our like cozy cabin in the garden on the hill in Brighton, like wrapped in blankets, the kettle going. It just really connects you to like this, sort of connects me and
yeah,
us to like this really, I guess, a sort of primal feeling of being around the
yeah,
fire together in ancient times. And it really felt like you could sort of tap into that, this real sort of ancient sort of um ritual of just drinking tea. And I'm quite into the fact that I've always loved tea even as a kid, which is not necessarily common for like children.
yeah,
But it's sort of that sort of I guess it's some people have their dependencies, and tea is like one of the not bad ones necessarily, but
yeah.
it has been almost a little bit of a like a I got my tea, I'll be okay. And to take the moment with the
Love it.
tea and the calmness with the tea,
Yeah,
and that, yeah, it really, I sunk right into doing that in the tea house and learned a bit, how to serve it myself. And then sort of started introducing it at the end of some of my Qi Gong classes, particularly over the winter.
yeah,
It was like if we didn't want to do much active qigong, sort of right in the middle of winter, we'd have a shorter class, and then we'd do like a tea meditation together. And some people I really, really love it. And I've got like, a group of people now, and we will do it online a bit as well. Recently, I've did a solstice one online and sent people out tea, and we just got together and drank it. And then, so now I've got like really into it more, and I went to like a Japanese tea ceremony exhibition at British Museum the other week, which is fantastic. Um, and I'm going to go to like a Chinese tea tasting at an Asian supermarket where I live on
yeah,
this weekend. And that's my,
yeah.
one of my, I guess, special interests.
I love it. I love it. I'm thinking chi and tea.
Tea and tea,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, I love. Yes, I need to use that somewhere. My friend. bought the website address years
Yeah,
ago for some reason. She
yeah.
doesn't do Qi Gong or tea ceremony, but she was like, "You can have it." So I'd take that over at some point.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. I was thinking potential episode title for this,
Oh,
but
Qi tea. Okay, yeah, I like it. Like it.
um, so that
Mm.
kind of moves us into the heal part, the collective part, sorry, the collective care part, the
Yeah.
co-regulation, how we're wired to heal from trauma, to heal from daily life in community. You hold community for others. It's so lovely to hear you receiving that community holding as well. But what would you say? I know you've kind of alluded to a lot of it, but your
Mm.
ideal and actual community collective care.
Yeah, yeah, this is a deep one, isn't it? And I have thought a lot about it the last few years, particularly with moving from my community in Brighton, um, where I'd been for like 12 years. Particularly, there's obviously a strong LGBT community, LGBTQIA plus community there, and I felt very at home. Um, uh, but I also, struggled with like I've always struggled with like working enough, earning enough and stuff. And so it was tricky managing like rent and um it sort of came at a time where I'd been with my partner for a few years and we had wanted to like live together at some point. And so the place I was renting got sold
Mm.
and I moved to be with my partner, which has been absolutely wonderful and was a really good move and was really happy. But there was also this very much like sense of being bereft of
Yeah.
missing community friends, not being able to just pop and meet a friend for a coffee, which I'd done all the time.
How
Uh,
far are you from Brighton now?
oh, it's a couple of hours on the train.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So I've had been on a huge journey about learning about community over the last few
yeah.
years. Um, if I don't know how long we have, we want to talk about it a bit more, or to just
Happy
get to the
to,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you're brilliant.
Oh,
Keep
thank you.
going.
You're brilliant. Okay. Fantastic. But yeah, gosh, I had a bit more therapy around that time, some
Mm,
more EMDR and stuff because I heard this from like other women who are a bit older than me a few years ago saying that um friendship groups and community and stuff seems to like disappear a bit as you get older.
yeah.
And I remember some one woman I knew in Brighton sort of talking to me about that, and I thought, oh, I don't really get it. Like I've got lots of people around, like I've always had lots of friends, kind of thing.
Mm,
I couldn't relate to it. And then with moving, it sort of really brings everything into focus. Like, okay, who have I got? Who are my community?
mm,
Who am I now going to make the effort for that I'm further away, and who's going to make the effort for me
yeah,
now I'm further away? And at the same time, I had some major life stuff, which so this is quite deep, quite serious, but
yeah.
my estranged dad died just as I
Oh,
moved.
yeah.
Um, and another very close family member got was sectioned and it was huge
Mm,
and it was such a bad time. I would, I was crying a lot and I'd just be out for a walk and just get on my knees and I'd be
yeah,
crying and feel so awful. It's just all these things hit at once. And yeah, I thought community was drifting away
yeah,
and I really did see, um, or start to see, I don't want to sort of be so trite who your friends are. It's such a sort of cliche to say you say
mm,
who your friends are. And it's not as simple as I thought that, when people say, oh, you find out who your friends are when times are difficult.
mm.
It is a two-way street, I know, and it's like also who do I want to connect with?
Yes.
But sort of seeing people's reactions and who got it, particularly with the close family member going to hospital, which really kind of brought me to my knees and I reached out to a few people and was met with different responses, and there were some lifelong friends and really good friends who just didn't get it and didn't or didn't respond. And I was just a bit like, whoa, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I felt like that sort of I had my partner who was amazing, my mum's amazing, and then there were a few people
Yeah.
who were amazing. And as people often say in the cliche, it's not always who you expect.
Yeah.
And it was like, ah, right, okay. And it sort of sent me on that journey of really starting to think about community more. And I know it's going on in the collective a lot at the same time that
Yeah.
a lot of people are thinking more about that. And we have to,
Absolutely.
know,
Especially now with,
especially now, and
yeah.
with having to just, we're the generation that's having to work much harder on it, with often moving away from different
Mm,
groups, whereas maybe in the past people wouldn't have obviously moved as much, or sort of lost their communities or have to work harder to keep
mm,
them. So it's something I have thought about a lot, and I meet people easily. I've met friends here, and but I am now taking a much more deep view on who are the people that, really um I want to make the effort for, and I would like them
yeah.
to make the effort for me, and sort of how to do that and what that involves. And yeah, it's so yeah, I'm still finding really, and honing, for want of
Yeah.
like a better word, like who that is, who how different people fit into my life. Um I would love to be like a part of, like, say, your witchy lunar group, if I lived more locally, or that is something I'd like to do. I have been to like women's circles in the past. There
Yeah.
is a bit of a thing around like um being being gay, being queer, and
Yeah.
even in like Brighton, still feeling that you're not necessarily part of that group if it's like a women's
Yeah.
circle or a sisterhood.
Well,
Um,
this is the first one where I'm having it as a women's because I started it. I mean, I trained as a women's Celtic circle facilitator, um,
right.
but the circles I were doing, it was like all genders welcome. And then in the last one, the guidance I got was actually, I think it is for women, obviously including trans women as well.
Mm.
But it was like I thought, oh God, I'm letting everyone down because I wanted to be so inclusive. And the people who were here for that circle were like, yes, we thought she'll come to it in her own time. But yeah,
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. It's there's I guess we want a bit of everything. It'd be good to
mm,
have like men's only, women's
yeah,
only, mixed, non-binary groups,
yeah,
etc. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
All. But I think,
yeah,
yeah, it would be lovely to be part of a women's slash more non-binary kind of circle, or um something like that. I quite like the aspect of
yeah,
something a bit more kind of like spiritual or witchy or
yeah,
something. But also I, some of these groups can be, they're vastly different, aren't they? And
yeah,
and no disrespect to people setting them up. Everyone is like doing it because they
yeah,
want to help themselves and other people. Um, but I think I'm looking for a specific thing, specific type of group,
yeah,
which I guess is a bit more kind of trauma informed and very inclusive, and isn't just a kind of like, or let's all hang out together.
yeah.
Has a bit more to it or something. I don't know. So we'll
You might
see.
do it yourself. You might like that. You might create what you've been seeking, and other people will be like,
Yeah.
amazing, I've been looking for that exact kind of circle.
Yeah. No,
No
maybe I would
pressure.
one day. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It could be something. I do find it quite, I even find this in my Qigong groups. I
Mm,
find it very hard to I find it quite exhausting, like to speak in front of people and to
Yeah,
like run
yeah,
things. I think that is probably quite normal, but
yeah.
um,
I mean,
it's
I'm clear with mine. They're non-hierarchical. I'm facilitating, but
okay.
it's really about helping people connect with their own inner wisdom, their own, like I know I talk a lot, but I want to get out of the way as much as possible because it's
Okay.
ultimately what you even said about when you were on your knees crying in the fields. It's that connection with nature as well, our community with the
Mm,
earth, and you were in that time able to connect with that and get that
mm.
community type. I'm not articulating it very well.
No, no, I think I get what you mean. You mean like feeling that nature is your
You're
community and
part of nature,
yeah,
yeah.
you're part of
Like,
nature. Yeah.
to take your tears to the field rather than in a concrete block type.
Yes, yes, definitely. And I do get a lot from, say, hugging the tree or having
Yeah,
my bare feet on the land
yeah,
and that lovely feeling in tea meditation where I do feel, like the birds are my family, the trees are, part of my part of my support. And I have
yeah,
definitely got things from that. And this is another part of my journey with finding community you know, is finding a bit more independence as well in myself and finding right community but not like in a dependent way.
yeah,
Yeah, so I will try and keep developing that, and
yeah,
obviously connected with nature is a really good way to do that, I think, and to feel yourself obviously as part of the wider universe and that is your home and your belonging and
yeah,
getting the support from that.
yeah,
So keep trying to develop that as well. And I think with meditation and the tea meditation, that helps me connect more to that. And so I guess then finding right community
yeah,
comes from that, rather than, and I think this is another lesson I've learned is how I've easily made friends, like easily
yeah,
connected with people, but are they the right people? And now like trying to hone that ability to love myself, feel my connection to nature and know the right people.
yeah,
And I'm also very proud that I've um have like a amazing lovely relationship with somebody who's very stable and um that is I want to take that into my friendships, I guess, like
yeah,
the sort of finding people who really respect each other, who really
yeah.
want to be stable for each other. And yeah, yeah, I've we so we
Uh,
so yeah, with also I am trying to obviously as well like facilitate and support community with the tea and
yeah,
qigong groups, and I always like try to add in a social element. So like at our um when was it we met for like start of spring / Chinese New Year, we did a tea meditation with some nice Chinese tea, and I'm not like there's a sort of talk around, not necessarily calling it a ceremony for not culturally appropriate.
mm,
So I try and call it a tea meditation. It's just people
yeah,
getting together to meditate with the tea. And so afterwards we went out for like lunch
mm,
and sort of chat a bit. And I have a few like older different age groups in my qigong groups and different sort of genders and sexualities, and so this is a nice like opportunity for us to get together and
yeah,
have that community. In particular, he won't mind me talking, there's an older guy who comes to my groups who's had like very difficult life, has really like found qigong to be massively helpful, and he's always comes to the different events I do, and it's it's really lovely to sort of like spend a bit more time with people
yeah.
like after the groups and kind of develop a bit more kind of connection. So yeah, I've tried to do that. Yeah.
I mean, community.
I know I
I'm
use that. I do
sorry.
use that. I love the word puns. We're both writers and journalists. I love that. I love that. And I do say, join community with the T at the end. And
Oh,
also relieve your anxiety. I
yeah.
love all of it.
So, I mean, you've been a delight as I expected. If you
Oh.
could, before we go, if you could send some love, some care, some wisdom, some guidance to a younger you at any age or ages, what would that be?
Um, Probably, maybe like embrace your quirkiness. Um, yeah, I'm thinking of myself at like maybe 8 or 9, um, 7, 8, 9 kind of thing. Embrace your quirkiness and some wisdom. I'm struggling a bit on
That's
that.
lovely. No, that's lovely.
There's things I would like to say to my younger
Yeah.
person, but in terms of like wisdom,
Oh, don't put pressure on yourself. What you've said, embrace quirkiness. Can you imagine how different life would be for everyone if we let ourselves be ourselves instead of trying to fit in and
yeah, 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 I know it would be.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I try to encourage that for myself and other people now. Um, yeah, yeah.
So thank you so much. Do you want to say again, it will be in the show notes, but do you want to say again where people can find you, your website, Insta, etc.?
Yeah, so my website is vitalityqigong.org. You can read how I got into Qigong, all about what classes I've got, and lots of like reports on the benefits of Qigong, etc. And on my Instagram, Vitality Qigong, I will post like sometimes some demonstrations or like seasonal tips because I'm quite into the seasonal qigong and different
Yeah,
practices for different times of the year. So spring supporting the liver and the gallbladder through certain movements, some summer supporting like the heart and the small intestine through other movements. So and then like, but also like the lifestyle stuff that could go with that to improve your health through the seasons according to like the qigong theory. So that kind of stuff goes on the
yeah.
Instagram. Yeah.
Wonderful,
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank
And
you.
an absolute pleasure. Thank you so, so much.
It was wonderful. I'll chat much longer, so it's
I
lovely,
know if I didn't have
lovely.
a client in a few minutes, it would be like this would be a much longer episode. It's
Thank
you've
you
gone
so
so deep.
much.
It's been so gorgeous.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you for the space, Eve, and your lovely, welcoming presence, and so easy to talk to. It's really, really
Oh,
nice. It's no minimal effort. Like I find it quite difficult sometimes to like chat in these situations, but I found it like absolute joy. Thank you.
oh, thank you. Before you get on with something else, I'm going to encourage you to pause for a moment and scan your whole being from the soles of your feet to your soul, the crown of your head, and notice what you're aware of. Notice any physical sensations, pleasant, unpleasant, warmth, tingly, whatever it may be. Just being curious about what you're feeling as you've listened to this episode. Um, Making a note, asking what those sensations might be trying to help you with, what you might benefit from doing for your body right now. Being aware of your thoughts, noticing any feelings that feel more prominent as a result of listening to today, and any intuitions, any insights, anything that you can actually schedule in to ground and improve your life in some way. So let me know how you get on. Make a note, doodle, journal, whatever feels good for you. And thank you for listening. This episode, like all of them, was produced by me, your host, Eve Menezes Cunningham, and I look forward to sharing more next week. You can find out more, access old episodes, and free resources and more information at soulstosoulcare.ie/podcast. See you next week.